When I actually went to Starbucks for the first time and they asked me what kind of milk did I want, there were like about like 5 to 6 options, like soy milk, oat milk. Back in Brazil, like we just had regular milk.
I'm from Puerto Rico, and there, when we say hi to someone, even if it's the first time you've met them, you usually say hi like with a kiss on the cheek or with like a hug. If you do that in the US, they'll find it very strange, especially with someone who you've never met before. That was something that I didn't really know coming into the US, and I kind of learned the hard way that like greetings are very different.
It's how Americans, when they run into you in the street, they say, "Hi, how are you?" without expecting a response. Back home, you stop and talk to the person if you ask, "How are you?"
I think the weirdest thing about the US is the fact that sales taxes are not included in the price that's shown like in the store, and it confuses me until this day. I think I figured it out, but I don't know why they just don't combine them.
In Japan, there's always the culture to take off your shoes when you enter anyone's house, right? So I was very surprised when some of my friends would come over to my room and they would just hop on my bed with their shoes on. That was very strange, but I've gotten used to it now. Favorite new thing? I would say following American sports more, right? NFL definitely. I remember watching the Super Bowl with some of my friends. That was very, very exciting.
Everyone here is super interested in where I come from and is interested in international students, always asks about the smallest of things, from language to like favorite food, all the way to like how the adjustment is. And I think it's always heartwarming and a good way to remember home and talk about it, but at the same time, share my experiences with others.
I feel like my favorite thing is the diversity of food that you can get in the US, and especially at Harvard Square. You like pretty much can find like food from anywhere. Like in Brazil, like we had lots of good food and I miss Brazilian food a lot, but we didn't have as much variety of foods from other countries as we do have here.
I think it's the winter. It gets really cold, but when it's snowing, it's absolutely stunning. I really love just looking at the snow out my window, or maybe taking a walk once the snow settles, or even like the first snow of the season. I usually tend to be in Harvard Square when that happens, and it's just so beautiful.
My first snow was actually in Boston. You can tell it was my first time seeing snow because like the first snow day, everyone goes into like Harvard Yard and they start playing with snow. You do like snow angels. It's the kind of thing where like if you're from Boston, you do it for like 5 minutes. But I feel like that first time I saw snow, I was probably outside for like 2 hours.
During the first few months, the people I was living with and almost every first year I met always talked about how much they missed wholesale like stores from their hometowns, like Costco and Sam's Club. And I never understood why everyone's so obsessed in these like big stores that sell everything in bulk.
Superstores in the US are definitely an interesting concept. This idea of like there's this one centralized place, like where I'm from, we don't have Target, and now I'm obsessed with Target because it's so convenient. You can go there and everything's there. It's such a weird concept because you go, oh, I'm going to CVS, which is like a pharmacy, but you don't really go for pharmaceuticals. You go for everything but that.
Especially at Harvard, I was able to meet people from like so many cultures. Some of my blockmates are like from countries that I had never been.
I have a lot of friends who originally, their parents came from India or China or different countries in Europe, and they really tend to follow these traditions, how people like to follow their cultural traditions. That would definitely be something that I've really realized.
Driving age in Sudan is 18. So when I came in my first year, I turned 19 in September. So I was on the older side, but like a lot of my friends were still 17, hadn't turned 18 yet. Pretty much all of them had their licenses, and I was just very shocked that Americans can get their licenses so young. It's just, like that blew my mind.
I think programs that are in place like the Fall International Program FIP or the Harvard International Office offer a lot of logistical support that is always needed and helpful to have.
The First Year International Program has helped because it has a lot of programming that helps people transition to living in the United States, and the international community has become sort of a family, and the program was so incredible that I returned as a leader for 3 years after.
There's culture organizations for basically anything you can imagine, and so if you want to find people who share those similar experiences, there's definitely a way to do that.
These communities make sure that they support every single member. The students do an amazing job of making sure that you are included and feel that you truly have a home here.
And when you join multiple clubs, there are so many other internationals, so many upperclassmen that will be willing to endorse you, to give you a lot of advice.
And even after I no longer needed that guidance, I was more than willing to share what I had learned with other first-year students. So I definitely do think that Harvard does provide a space for, international students to like get to know each other and share their experiences.
So I feel like just relying on those people and those organizations on top of the Harvard resources really helped me manage my freshman year and the years forward, and also makes lots of friends.
I'm sure you'll be able to have a great transition as long as you reach out and are willing to solicit advice from a lot of different people.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me.